I expected about 8 people today, so this is an enormous crowd. So today I want to talk to you about women supporting women, but we want to talk about in the business and workplace as well as social media. And we got to start with the workplace because we got to look at our core values. Can you see? And I might be in front of the screen at any given time, and I'm sorry, I'll try to wander back and forth so you can see it. So, I love our gender, but one thing I don't like about it is that we are catty. It is, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. We're mean, we tear each other apart, and you can hear it in the media. I don't like her hair, there's something wrong with her suit. What I want us to look at today is ourselves. We can't control what's going on out there. We can influence it, but the person we can control is ourselves. And there are things that you're doing probably every day that you don't even realize that is undermining the gender as a whole. So the point is, we want to create a culture where women thrive and can get the attention they deserve for their accomplishments. Because I think one thing that we're not doing really well right now is supporting each other and promoting each other. And social media is one way we can do that. And we can own it, because right now, nobody is owning it. So I have a story to tell you. I used to work at the Martin Agency, and I did for about 4 years, and then I left the Martin Agency, and I went to work for a firm in North Carolina called Howard Maryland Partners. And when I got there, I met a woman named Susan Jones, and she was my art director, I was a copywriter, and we always worked in teams for accounts. And Susan and I were a magic team. I mean, we'd sit down and we'd play Pictionary with a group. She'd draw one line, and it'd be like, oh, it's a sailboat, or it's the king and I. I mean, we just had that synergy. It was great. And we had also on our team somebody named Bridget Thompson. And she was ahead of a lot of the really good accounts. So we wanted to work with her. But I have to be honest with you, she was kind of straight-laced. She was straight out of the Brooks Brothers catalog. And she was real straight-laced. We kind of didn't really gel with her. And so there was a lot of not real good synergy there. So we were working on a campaign for her. And we worked and we looked at the strategy, and we kind of got away from the strategy, but we came up with a brilliant campaign. And we sold it to our creative director, and he was all in. And then we presented it to her. And she said, I really love this campaign, but it is off strategy. And we're like, change the strategy. Oh, it's creative, it's great. You know, you got to do that. And we were kind of stubborn. We dug our heels in. It became kind of a point of pride. So she went over our heads, and she went to the creative director, and the creative director comes back to us and says, you have to redo the campaign. Oh, we were livid. We were not happy at all. And we ranted and raved, but we got it done. We did the campaign. But after that, the relationship started to fall, and then it started to falter a lot. 2 days after we finished that campaign, Bridget was promoted to vice president. She was the first one in this agency in 25 years to be promoted. We couldn't believe it. We head over to the soundproof room. We're in there, we're ranting and raving. We are cussing that witch. Not exactly what we said. By the way, the one that rhymes with witch, eliminate it from your vocabulary. We're screaming at the walls. Then I turn around. Susan turns around. This is my art director we worked with. And I said, you know what we need to do? And she said, yes, I do. And in unison, we said, we need to get her a gift basket. We dashed out the door. We went to the place. We put the and they put together the basket. We came back. We went in her office and we took that gift basket. Congratulations on your promotion. If I could have captured the look on her face, she was shocked. But you know, that's not the only emotion I saw. The other emotion I saw was loneliness. And you know what else? She was eating a sandwich at her desk. It was 2 o'clock. Then it hit me. In the past, when men had been promoted to vice president, they'd all gone out to the 2-martini lunch for 2 hours. They'd all come back in half loaded, you know, just like, wow, I wish I'd been at that lunch. They did not ask her to lunch. She had expected to be asked, but she was sitting there eating her sandwich, and she was embarrassed, so she kind of tucked it under the desk. She didn't want us to know that she hadn't been invited in the Old Boys Network. So she really appreciated it, but from that day forward, I said, I'm going to change the way I look at Bridget. I'm going to appreciate her ambition. They saw something that I missed, and that's the way I'm going to play it. And after that, we were a very strong team, and we won every national award that you would want to win at an advertising agency. It wasn't because of me, it wasn't because of Susan, it wasn't because of Bridget. It's because we decided to work together. And it wasn't her, it was us. And we did not accept the fact until we decided that we'd made a mistake. We screwed up. We have to stay on strategy. So I got a little exercise for us today. And it's a sort of a psychology exercise. I'm going to show you 4 women. I do not want you to say anything negative about these 4 women. I want to hear something positive, and I want you to admire something about them that has made them successful. All 4 are very successful. You are not going to like all 4 women. I think it's impossible. But you can admire somebody for their traits of being successful. And the first one's really easy. And I'm going to ask you guys to tell me traits about this person as a successful woman that you admire. See, easy. Oprah Winfrey. Shout them out. She gives back. She gives back. She's a good humanitarian. And she's never lost that. She was an overweight black woman who was successful. She overcame a lot of odds to get where she is today. And she has stuck with her core value the whole time. This is tough. Hillary Clinton. She's what? Forgiving. Come on, you guys. If you don't have any, she's smart. She's independent. Good. And that's what I like. I like she's persistent. She's resilient. That's one of my favorite traits about her. And she's a great speaker. All right, we got polar opposite here. Sarah Palin. Tenacious. I like it.
Good at geography.
Good at geography.
I was going to say hilarious.
I like that she's not apologetic about being sexy. I mean, they raked her over the coals about her shorts, her hair, her this or that. That's the way she was. She moved on. She was unapologetic about it.
She was also not apologetic about her family. Her family was her family.
It is. And she's let the ugliness, you know, and she's been proud of it. That's who my family is. And I like that about her as well. She shoot a gun. Susie Orman. Do you guys know who she is? She's what? She's straightforward.
She was a trailblazer. She just
That's what I like. That's a big one. Trailblazer in industry. Who owned the financial industry? Was it females? No, male dominated. And what she does works for some people. It may not work for you, but for millions of people, it works.
She shares her knowledge. She teaches.
Yes, she does. So what I want you to start to do is reframe the way you look at people. and people that you may not care about. Because you know what? Everybody has a story. So somebody you may feel is arrogant might just be shy. So give them a little space, and let's not jump on people right away about judging who they are. So we want to focus on what makes a woman successful. That's the point. So we're going to talk about how we might do this in social media. And the first thing you need to do, and we're going to focus on LinkedIn, because there's no way we're going to cover Instagram and Twitter and Facebook all in one day. But I think most everybody in here has a LinkedIn profile. Is that true? Okay. I want you to form social groups. And the reason is that once you form a social group, you have somebody to share articles with. You can promote them, and I'll show you some examples in a minute. A social group is not one. Got that? You can't have a social group with one. You have to have at least two. And you can start with two. That's okay. You can start with three. Keep it small. Pick a couple of women that you respect and that you like the information that they share. You can have as many as 10, but don't get that complex yet. Just start small. I have a social group. It is not all women now. I have men. Yvonne Alzero back there, Rich from Corporate Video, is in one of my social groups. So on LinkedIn, I make sure that I include certain people in certain posts so that they'll come and they'll see it. And sometimes it's about them, so I want them to see it. So on LinkedIn, this is what's called the feed. So and this is kind of a basic, some of you might already know this, but if you log into LinkedIn and click that home button, this is what you'll see. And it's the postings in the last day or so, or the last hour, of what people in your network, your connections, have posted. They've shared articles, they're sharing where they're speaking next, they may be sharing somebody won an award. And typically, what is at the top of your feed are the people that you have commented on or interacted with the most. So it doesn't show it in absolute chronological order. It's going to show, so if you've developed that social group and you've liked and commented a lot of things that your social group, that's going to kind of move to the top. Okay. Now we're going to talk about sharing, and this is kind of nuts and bolts stuff. So I said, nice article, I'm getting the most out of creative talent, and then I want Joseph Ruiz to see that. So you find the @ sign, and you start typing out his name, and then this list will come up, and then you can just click on the person. And you can add as many people as you want. That way, they get a notification. So this little flag here, if you click on that, and it usually has a number at the top, and then you can look and see who's commented on your post, who's included your name in a post, who's liked the post you put out there. Some people have that come to them by email, and I used to do that when I had 200 connections. Now I have close to 2,000. That's what I'd be doing all day. So I make sure that I've unsubscribed to that, and I go check the little flag. Now I'm going to go into some examples of ways we can promote other women and each other. So I'm at the workshop hosted by the Chamber, and Meredith Powell asked the group, does anybody want to share some of their latest accomplishments? Julie Sillo raises her hand. And she said, I was recently put in the top 50 women lawyers in Virginia. Well, I had just had lunch with Julie. She didn't tell me that. So at the break, I said, Julie, you've got to give me details about that. Can you email it to me? Because I would like to promote that on LinkedIn. So you get the gist. You're promoting other women and their accomplishments. You're amplifying the voice. She saw it because she looked in her little flag thing, and she said, thanks, M. Moss Rogers, and she did that with the @ What happens is I shared it with my 2,000 followers. When she when she said thank you, it shared it with her thousands of followers. And then unbeknownst to me, Lee Sanford, who happens to be an employee of ours, wrote a testimonial about what a great lawyer Julie was while she was going through her divorce. A free testimonial that showed, and then other people hit that like button, 4 people. So that shares with all their networks. So you get how it can amplify? So if somebody wins something, and you don't even have to know the person, like the YWCA Women of the Year, we need to be promoting that. We need to put the accomplishments of women out there in social media, whether it's something you did or not. It could be somebody who's nationally famous. It could be somebody who's locally famous. It can be somebody who's not famous at all. Second thing after promote successes is we need to recommend. Susan Collins is owner of Speed Pro, and she did a sign for me for Beacon Tree Foundation, Advocates for Youth Mental Health, and yes, that's a plug. And we bought this Orient sign, and the Orient signs are guaranteed. And I went to one of the talks we go to, and the sign kind of bent over. And they're not supposed to do that. So I called Susan and said, you know, the stand's not working. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Are you going to be at the chamber meeting tomorrow? And I said, yes. So she met me there. She took the sign. She fixed it. In the next chamber meeting, she brought it back to me. That's customer service. So I wrote her a review, a recommendation. You go to the profile, you scroll down, and you put in the recommendation. Now, I don't expect Susan to then go and give me a recommendation, because she's never hired me to work for her, so that would be weird. So we're looking for a pay-it-forward type of strategy, not a tit-for-tat. Well, I wrote her a review. She didn't write me one. We're losing that, ladies. That has to go. We need to support each other and recognize when somebody does a good job. I thought that was above and beyond. Yeah, she sold me a good sign, and that's great. But it was when things went wrong that she stood out to me. And I thought, man, she's got my business. The other is share articles. Kimberly Taylor frequently writes articles on LinkedIn about your car, about state inspections. Did anybody ride their bike here today? We all have a car, right? If you go and you click, I don't have enough time. Don't worry about it. All you have to do is click like, and it shares it with your network. And I like sharing her articles because they're helpful and informative, and they tell me things I never knew. Like, you have to have headlights on in the rain by law. I didn't know that was the law. I know that because of Kimberly. So I frequently will go in and share her articles. I don't have time to comment. I at least hit like, and I share it with my 2,000 followers so that it gets more exposure. Now I'm going to go through, and we're almost at the end, I'm just going to share a few of the women in Richmond, Virginia that I admire. And one of them is Diane Cook Tench. Who's heard of the Brand Center? The VCU Brand Center. That was her baby. Nationally recognized Brand Center. Do you see her name anywhere on that Brand Center? I love Mike Hughes. He was my creative director. He was very involved. It was her baby. It was her idea, and she put the blood, sweat, and the tears in that, and she created something that will outlive her. Kathleen Burke-Barrett, she's the CEO of St. Joseph Villa and was previously the CEO at the Red Cross. She really can make the hard decisions. And she makes the hard decisions, and she's unapologetic about it. And she's a giving human being. She's great with the community. But she shares a passion that I share, and that's with youth mental health. Carol McDade from Capital, what's the name of it? Capital Decisions. And she's a lobbyist, and she's a recovered addict. And she's very successful. And I like that her message has been, and this is her message for the last 20 years, even before it was popular, that addiction is an illness and not a lifestyle choice. And she has stuck to that, and she's been just an amazing example of somebody who's recovered from addiction. My last piece is that I would highly recommend this book, Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg is the vice president of Facebook. She'll really start to fill in the gaps of what we talked about today. And you'll really start to get the idea how you can support other women. And she's even got like a website, and so it's really blown up over the years. And this is still a very popular book, even though I think it's about 3 or 4 years old now. And here's what I want you to start. I want you to take baby steps, one step at a time. If you're going to start that social group, start it small. Figure out LinkedIn. Don't try Twitter and everything else. Get one down first. Since this is a business group, probably LinkedIn is where you should start for the most part. I want you to be yourself. And then third, I want you to look for opportunities. I want you to listen. I want you to read the paper. Oh, I need to share that. Look for opportunities. And I just want you to have a heightened awareness for those things women do well. And before I take questions, I wanted to thank Richmond Corporate Video back there, Yvonne Alsuro. And a plug for Kick Stigma that's going on this weekend. We're going to kick the stigma of youth mental health, and we still need some freelance team members. Thank you so much. Do you guys have any questions? That's always the lethal thing.
Grandma, share with us, I already know this story, share with us some of the resistance you got when you got into your industry, entering the good old boys club or the male industry. I know, I'm fishing you, I'm baiting you for a story I want you to tell.
Right. Well, I got a real good one. I'm not sure I can say it here. I started at the Martin Agency, and it was definitely, I remember coming down the hall holding 2 coffee pots, and one of the guys said, "Nice jugs." Oh. This was pre-Anita Hill. She's another person I admire, because she came out and things changed. Whether she won or not, things changed in the workplace, because I remember being before Anita Hill and after Anita Hill. It still has to change, but you got to stand up for yourself. I think that's the important thing. It's like, you know, lots of times I have had to come out and say, that's really not an appropriate comment. And you can say it in a nice way and just move on. And typically that's all you have to say. And that is what I said that day. That's not really an appropriate comment. And I was new. I'd probably been there 3 weeks, and I'm like, what did I say? Oh my God, I'm going to get fired. Any other questions?
Premier, LinkedIn as opposed to unpaid.
I'm doing Premier. There is a LinkedIn that's like $5.95 a lunch, $5.95 a month, which is $5.95. And maybe start there. I call it the hidden link. If I'll try to find it, and I'll try to post it on LinkedIn today. I don't know. I've gone back and forth whether it's worth the $30. A lot of people that are in premium will tell you it is. I don't use the in-mail feature that often, but I have noticed, I think it puts me at the top of the feed more often. And I think that may be a benefit. You also kind of get a banner at the top. So I don't really know. Everybody says do it, so I'm doing it. But I'm thinking of trying the one that's $5.95 and see if it has the same effect. We'll see.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you offer training?
Do I offer
Training.
for women in the workplace? Usually, well, I haven't done that before, no. In fact, you guys are I've been wanting to do this topic probably for a year. And you guys gave me the first opportunity. I want to thank you for that, because it just started, in my head, and it's like, these are the things we are not doing. And I was noticing on social media that we weren't taking those opportunities, and it was bothering me. So I decided to give it a try, and I have to say, it's really paid off, and I feel good about it. I feel good about promoting other people and saying, look what she's done. And, I like where that's put me. Any other questions?
I have one more. How do you handle the person that really needs you as a friend, but she's not on board with this philosophy? And I bet you she exists in everyone's office in here.
I typically model the behavior. I mean, there'll be, just yesterday we had an incident happen where a friend of mine really got thrown under the bus. And I was just really shocked. And I said, just back off and the other piranha will come in. I mean, I wrote an article a couple years ago, and somebody was something really mean and scathing. I didn't answer it, because you know what? Everybody around came in to feeding frenzy, tore them apart. I didn't have to worry about it. So I think maybe stepping back, modeling good behavior is one way to do it. And don't engage in the kind of catty stuff that you hear. Just like, it's not productive. It doesn't get us anywhere. All it does is pull us down as a gender. And you see the high school girls doing it to each other, and some people just never grow out of that. That's just kind of like...
Everybody's nodding.
I know. And you guys, the people who are here today probably aren't those people. I mean, you came here today because you care and because you want to promote other women. And there's just some people that you just need to separate yourself from. You don't need to say anything nasty to them. You just kind of like, we don't have the same philosophy, and just kind of move in a different direction.
In this social arena that we all operate in, everybody is out there, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn. What is a professional rule of thumb? I know keep your personal stuff on Facebook and don't mix business and stuff like that, but when you're on LinkedIn and then somebody goes, oh, let me friend you in Facebook, and then you're like, I really don't want you to see me in a bathing suit.
Right.
So what is the emerging social etiquette for connecting all of these different venues of social media for women?
Right. Well, okay. The question is, how do you separate when somebody is a connection on LinkedIn and also wants to kind of like you on Facebook and follow you there? I have had people give the response that I kind of say Facebook for my family, for updates for just my family. Anything you say runs the risk of kind of hurting somebody's feelings. So you just have to kind of take that into consideration on a case-by-case. LinkedIn is really business. I haven't had that many people from LinkedIn want to be my friend as I have on Facebook, and I'm like, who is this person exactly? But quite frankly, on Facebook, a lot of my posts I've made public lately, and a few I'll make just with friends. So you can make posts on Facebook that are very specific to just your friends, but that is a sticky question. And Facebook is the more social one. It's the cocktail party. By the way, don't have a couple of drinks and go post on LinkedIn. Cut that app off. Just say, after 8, I'm not posting on LinkedIn. And if you start earlier, don't go to LinkedIn. It is not the spot to go. And, it's not the cocktail party. That's not a good LinkedIn photo. You can put that on Facebook, but not LinkedIn. You want to keep it somewhat professional. Any other questions? I'll be hanging around afterwards, so if you want to ask me any questions about your business or your situation, feel free to ask. And thanks again. I really appreciate the opportunity to present today on a topic I've really been wanting to present. Thank you.